Mary from SVG Cuts, and I'm here today with some brand new fun Halloween projects. So we've got all kinds of fun Halloween stuff in our store, which you can totally mix up and match up, but it's always fun to have some brand new stuff to work on. So what I came up with this time is, well, probably my favorite part of this kit is this jack-o'-lantern bucket, because it looks nice and it looks like a traditional jack-o'-lantern bucket, and you could certainly put something inside to give someone, or I think if it was me, I would just put some lights inside like I've done and use it as some home decor, because it just looks super festive. I actually, instead of a LED tea light candle, this time I put some of these lights that I got from Amazon inside, because I think they're a little bit brighter. I actually put 2 in there to make it nice and bright. And of course you could make it orange, purple, glittery, pink. You could make any color and it's going to look really cool. So that is pretty straightforward, nice and easy to put together. And I also used these lights for this bag as well. So the lights that I got are on Amazon. They're by Super Night, and they're called micro lights. They're miniature LED lights, and they really are, they're really cool actually. They're $7 and they come in all different colors, and the lights themselves are super tiny and they're on this really cool wire. So I got a couple of them and I plan to use them around the house just to make things more festive and cute. So they take 3 batteries, and just as a side note, I go through a lot of batteries with stuff like this. I have a lot of timer battery powered candles around the house that add a lot of ambiance. So I got this on Amazon too. It's just a battery recharger. So when my batteries run low, I can recharge them, and that's nice. So this bag is, I'm going to show you exactly how it works in just a minute, but the front of the bag, it has 20 holes for the 20 lights, and we're just going to tape each one on the back, and then we're going to cover it up with this on the back. So we'll get to that here in just a minute. But this bag is also included in your download without the holes. So if you just want to make a gift bag that's plain and different, you can do that. And just like the jack-o'-lantern bucket, I think you could definitely use this as a really awesome gift bag, or it can just be some decor around the house, which I think looks really festive. So we've also got a cute little box card, and as always, the cool thing about the box card is that it folds flat to fit inside its envelope, but it also is very dimensional and cool. And it's really cool because it's basically just one piece that forms the box, and then there are some little inserts that get glued inside. So it's pretty straightforward to put together, but kind of a wow factor. So kind of like a different take on the box card is this card. I mean, I guess you could call it a box card because it kind of forms a box, but it also folds flat to go inside of its envelope. So that is nice and festive. And then finally, I wanted to do some kind of vinyl project. So I went to Joann Fabrics and I got this 8x10 frame. But for this project, you could use any 8x10 frame, really from anywhere. You can just, whatever kind of 8x10 frame you want to use, you can. And then I also picked up some black vinyl and transfer paper. And I'll show you exactly how that works here in just a minute. But if you've never worked with vinyl before, it's actually really easy. I've already cut my cobweb design out of my piece of vinyl here, just like you would paper. And then I'm just going to use this to transfer it onto the frame, and it's super easy and super quick. So I have all my pieces cut out to show you how these things go together. And one final note, the paper that I used this time is super cool. It's by My Mind's Eye, and it's called Frightful, and it comes with all kinds of fun little brads and the small pad, and the paper is just really cool. It's kind of vintage inspired, but also looks kind of modern at the same time, to me. At least that's what I think. But like I always say, whatever kind of paper you have in mind in your stash or that you want to use, it's going to look awesome. So let's get started. So first, for our jack-o'-lantern bucket, I've got the main pieces almost all laid out here. We're going to start just by putting together the sides, and there are 12 sides, and each side is numbered on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on through 12. So obviously we've got the face here on pieces 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 through 12 are pretty much all just plain, except 2 of them have holes for the handle. So I went ahead and darkened in these numbers with a marker so that you could see them in this video, but You don't have to do that unless you want to, but your machine will have cut the number into each piece so you can see if you look closely. So all we want to do is start with piece number 1, and as you can see, I'm just putting glue on each little triangle, and then I will take piece number 2 here, and I'm just carefully lining it up on that first tab there and giving it a chance to dry as I work my way up the other 2 tabs. And then the rest of piece number 2 here, I'm going to just do the same exact thing. So you really want that first tab to take hold so that it doesn't slide out of place as you work your way up. And then you can move a little faster as you get past that first little triangular tab. So as you can see, I'm just carefully lining up the edge of piece number 2 with the folded edge of piece number 1. And it's pretty easy for it to just kind of fall right into place. Although I've made several of these, so maybe I'm going a little bit faster than you are, but that's okay. And as you can see, I am just doing the same thing by putting glue on all these little triangles. And I'm just going to put piece number 3 on next. So this is exactly how all the pieces are going to go together. And really the only thing to remember is just to get that first one to take hold really well before you start moving on. So like I said, I am just doing the same exact thing all the way up each seam for all 12 pieces. So go ahead and work your way around with all 12 pieces. So I've got all 12 of my pieces together, and I'm just putting glue on this final seam here. And something that might come in handy with your pumpkin is anytime you want to, you can push down from the top and the bottom to kind of make it take shape a little bit, if that helps you while you're trying to work with it. So I am actually gluing this top tab into place, and I'm holding it in place, and then I'm going to get this bottom tab lined up and hold that in place. And once these 2 tabs here, the bottom and the top, once they kind of take hold, that's going to help everything else just kind of fall into place. And that just makes it easier to get this together so we're not fighting with the tension in the 2 pieces here. So now it's just a matter of pushing each of these tabs closed from the outside and the inside. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is put our panels in place. And I realize I haven't put the bottom on yet or the tissue paper inside. I don't think it really matters too much the order that we do that in. Oh, here we go. As long as you put the panels in the right place. The only thing to take note of is the face in these panels, and then there are 2 that have little holes in the top. So the 2 with the holes go on. Actually, I only really want to put glue on the top and on the bottom. That way we get a nice curve. We get a nice curve in each piece. You could glue the whole thing on if you want, but why do extra work when it really just creates a nicer curve if it is not gluey in the middle. So we've got all these other panels in the same same thing applies to each of these. We just need a little glue on anything that's going to pop out. And we just pop these panels right into place. So you can go ahead and put all of your 13 panels around your pumpkin. And then let's take a look at the tissue paper that goes inside. So for that, I did not use vellum because, well, I find it very difficult to find bright orange vellum, first of all, which I wanted that color. And then also, if the mouth was vellum, it would need to be folded or kind of wrinkly. So the tissue paper seems to be a better choice for this. So all you want to do is take your template, which can be any kind of scrap paper, doesn't matter what color it is, and we just want to find a piece of tissue that's not too wrinkly, and then just roughly cut around it as long as it's approximately the shape of your template. That's fine. The edges can be kind of messed up, that's fine too. So this template's for the eyes and the nose. So we're going to have 3 triangles, and it's going to be difficult to it's going to be difficult for you to see me do this, but I've got my glue inside, and I'm putting a ring of glue around the eye opening, and then I'm just going to take my triangle and lay it down on top of the glue. And you want the glue to be like not too close to the edge so that it's not wrinkly, because sometimes the glue has a tendency to wrinkle up. But even if it gets a little wrinkly, that's fine. So then we're going to do the same exact thing for the mouth. So you just want to cut around the mouth, and then go inside with your glue and put just a real loose ring, doesn't have to be perfect, of glue around, and put that mouth on the inside. Then we can go ahead and put glue on all 12 of these tabs around the bottom, and take the larger of these 2 shapes and glue that to the bottom. Then you can flip it over and put glue on this smaller shape and glue that inside the bottom. So next, for our lighted pinup witch bag, we've got the 2 main pieces of the bag here, and one of them has 20 holes cut out. And I went ahead and glued these side panels on. As you can see here, there's a panel underneath and a panel on top that is just decorative. So what we want to do first is take our piece with the holes in it, and I've got my string of 20 lights here, and what we want to do is start with this bottom one. If you take a look, you can see that we're kind of missing a hole right here because the witch's broom is going to cover it up. So right underneath that, right here, is where we want to start. So all I'm going to do is take some plain old tape and just tape that right down there. So I centered the little light right on the hole, and all I'm going to do is work my way around, and we can bend this wire really however you want. So you can just kind of bend it out of the way, and then we're going to cover up the wire with a little panel too. So as you can see, all I'm doing is just working my way around, gluing each little, taping each little light right in front of the little hole. So go ahead and work your way all the way around with all 20 lights. So I've almost got all my lights in place here, and one thing to note is that this other piece of the bag is going to get glued here. This tab is going to get glued right here. So you just want to make sure that your wire is not coming out over into that area as you work your way around. And it doesn't really matter how the wire is positioned because it's going to be hidden. As long as it's basically flat, that is perfect. And then I'm just going to tape this down right here. So right above where the fold of the bag bottom is, just to kind of hold that in place. So super cool. And let's go ahead and glue the other part of the bag in place. If my glue will come out, yay. So we might as well get this part into place. Okay, so the next thing we can do is take our panel here that covers it up, and the inside of this paper here is really busy, so it's kind of, in order to see these two fold lines, it's kind of difficult. But what I'm going to do is take some dimensional sticky dots and I'm going to put one in each corner here and one right in the middle, and that's going to hold this in place so that when you're like reaching into your bag, or if you put something in your bag, it's not getting all stuck on all those wires. And my wires are sticking out a little bit. So the next thing we can do is put our witch in place, and you could of course just glue that right into place, but I think some dimensional pop dots, these are called zots, I think a little bit of dimension sounds good. And the witch's broom kind of goes in this open space where there's not a light, and just put her right in the center. So the next thing we can do is glue the side of our bag together. And as you can see, I'm just putting those lights right kind of in the bag and building my bag around them. And there is the side glued together. And I'm going to carefully flip this over so that I can reach in from the inside and press that tab down. And now I can carefully flip my bag over here and put some glue on these bottom tabs going all the way out to the corners, and close up the bottom of my bag. And then I'm going to carefully set it upright and push down on those tabs from the inside. So the next thing we can do, if you would like to glue this into the bottom of your bag, you can, to kind of finish off the bottom and strengthen it up. You don't really have to. I think I'm going to leave mine out just because it's easier, but you can put it in there if you want. And then next we've got our trim here, which is kind of like some fun fringe. So if you fold this in half, you can see that one side is a little bit shorter than the other, and then this single piece is even longer. So it forms like 3 graduating layers of trim. So you can glue that right to the top. And as you can see on my finished bag, I kind of curled them a little bit with my fingers, and I put a row. I basically just by hand, I took a piece of tissue paper and I just cut it into some fringe, and I put that between these two pieces just to add a little bit more like vintage looking flair. And then I twirled two pieces of pipe cleaners around each other and trimmed it off, and I used a hot glue gun to glue that into place. So finally for our handle, it's these two long pieces, and you don't want to glue them flat together, because then when you try to bend it, it won't curve very nicely. So you could actually just go ahead and take your brad and your two brads and put those into place just like that, or we can just kind of concentrate the glue on the two ends and maybe put a couple dots in the center just to hold it together. But in order to get a nice curve, we want to kind of glue it together as we curve it. And mine's a little off center, but you get the idea. And then you just want to take your two brads and attach it on the sides. So next for our haunted house box card, it's this main piece here, which I went ahead and I folded these flaps over and I glued my cobwebs on, and I glued my panels in place, as well as the boo and this little ticket shaped space where you can write, whatever you want on the back of your card. And then on the other side, the second part of the haunted house here I glued on. So we've also got, just like you can see in your PDF, we've got the inserts embellished here. So this is the inside front, and then insert 1, 2, and 3. So these are just single layers, and then this is just a little bit dimensional with the same color glued right on the top there. So we can start by putting some glue on the side tab here and form our little box shape. And then we can take the inside front insert and put some glue on that orange part down there, and just glue that right inside. And then for insert number 1, we want those tabs to be folded towards you, and put some glue on them. And that's going to go right inside. And the top of the tab is flush with the top of the box, and the front of the tab is flush with the front of the box. So it just goes right up against the front there on both sides. And before it's completely dry, just gently fold it back and forth to make sure everything is nice and perpendicular and will fold flat. So for piece number 2, I'm also going to fold those tabs towards me and put some glue on them. And it's gonna, again, it's lined up at the top of the box there, and then the front of the tab is lined up with the tab that's in front of it. And again, before it's dry, let's make sure it's gonna fold. And then finally, for insert 3, we can put some glue on those tabs, and they get folded away from you. And again, that's just going to go right inside and be lined up with the top and the back. And again, before it's dry, let's just make sure that it's going to fold flat, and it does. So there's our box card. So next for our jack-o'-lantern card, I have the front of the card here, and I went ahead and put this panel that's like a frame around it, and I put together my jack-o'-lantern. I glued him on the front, as well as this thing here that you can stamp on it. I did some embossing in the same color as the paper, and I stamped this, and then I put these fun brads on there. So that's one piece of the card, and then this is the other piece of the card, which is the back. So the first thing we want to do is, this back side of the card is optional. It's white in case you want something you can write on, like Happy Halloween from me. Of course, if you leave it black, you could write with a gel pen that you can write on black with. So we've got these two glued together, and then we can flip it over, and we've got this one gray piece here and then this orange panel. It looks kind of strange, but when it's in the card, it kind of adds some extra visual dimension because it looks like a shadow is shining on our jack-o'-lantern. It looks like there's a shadow behind him, like there's a single bright light shining on him. So it looks pretty cool. So now all that's left to do is put some glue on this tab here and glue that right into place. And of course it folds flat so that you can put it in the envelope that it comes with, and super cute. So finally, for our spiderweb 8x10 vinyl frame project, I went ahead and cut out my vinyl piece here and I left it on my mat. In case you've never worked with vinyl, this is just the most readily available. It's by Silhouette and I got it at Joann Fabrics. But really any kind of vinyl like this for this purpose is gonna work great. So I just trimmed it to 8x10, I put it on my mat, and the vinyl itself is actually, it's like two layers. We've got the vinyl itself. Oh shoot. And that's why you should be careful when you peel it off, because you don't want that to happen. Let me just carefully put that back into place, because, yeah, that's not good. Okay, so be careful, guys. So let's carefully, maybe slowly, peel away the excess that's not part of our design. And to get all these little pieces that are inside, I like to take an X-Acto knife or a craft knife, whatever you would like to call it, and carefully peel those away. So I just use my craft knife to kind of take hold of it and peel that away. So you want to go ahead and carefully remove anything that's not part of your design, and the design itself is all one piece. So everything I'm removing is just these little pieces in between the parts of the cobweb design. So go ahead and carefully remove all of those. So I cut this with my Sizzix Eclipse 2, but any cutting machine will cut vinyl nicely. And the interesting thing is that it's actually pretty delicate and easy to cut, so you actually want your pressure to be on the low side. So for my particular machine with my particular blade and everything, I set my pressure to 4 because you want to cut through the vinyl, not through the bottom layer that the vinyl is on. And there's my final piece. So next, what I want to do is take my transfer paper, and the transfer paper is sold right next to the vinyl. It's also by Silhouette, and we want this pattern side to be facing us, and I'm going to actually peel it off. And it's sticky, but it's not like crazy sticky. So this kind of thing is okay. The less that it gets wrinkled up and crazy, the better. But if yours wrinkles up like mine just did, it's not the end of the world. I just want to make sure that it is going down completely flat. And you can just give it like a real firm, good rub down. Otherwise, if you have a tool like this, I grabbed this at Joann Fabrics. It's by Martha Stewart Crafts. And sometimes it's just nice to have something to really smooth something down with, just to make sure that it is that transfer paper is really going to grab onto the design. So the next thing I want to do actually is cut away with my craft knife. You don't have to get super close to the edge, but I want to cut away some of this excess transfer paper so that it's not in my way when I put my design onto my frame. I think it just makes things easier. And let's carefully remove this excess transfer paper. So now you can take your frame and let's flip it over. And like I said before, and like it says in your PDF, any 8x10 frame is going to work. So what you want to do actually, if you can take your glass out, you want to take it out and clean it with glass cleaner just to get rid of any dust or oil from your fingerprints or anything, and then put it back in, or just carefully clean it if you can't remove the glass, clean it with some glass cleaner. And then I've got my layers that form the frame here, and then I taped my 5x7 right on the back. And you want to make sure you know where the bottom of your frame is, because here's the bottom of your design, and pop that into place and close it up. And then we just want to flip it over, and if your glass is loose inside the frame at all, you want to make sure that it's, you know, fully down where gravity is going to pull it before you put your design on. And then we can go ahead and carefully peel our vinyl design, which is on the transfer paper, off. And I'm doing my best to not touch the vinyl since it's adhesive, and I don't want any oil from my hands to make that adhesive less effective. And this this oval design that's on the vinyl design, it's kind of loosely hand drawn, so it's not a perfect oval, as well as the rest of the design. So you don't have to worry too much about perfectly getting it right on top of your design. You just want to do your best to center your design, and we just want to make sure that there aren't any wrinkles. So yay, not too difficult. And you know, I did not perfectly center this, but since the design is so freehand and kind of like a doodle style, it doesn't have to be scientific because it's not a scientific type of design. So again, I'm just gently using my tool here again to make sure everything's nice and flat, and that there aren't any bubbles or anything. And then, let's see, basically all we want to do is carefully remove this transfer paper, leaving the vinyl design in place. So again, you want to go slowly, and I did not clean this glass with glass cleaner, so I can tell that it's not stuck on there quite as well as the first time I did it. I was very careful and I cleaned the glass with glass cleaner, and it stuck perfectly. This one's fine, but it's not as perfect, so you definitely want to clean it off with the glass cleaner. But as you can see, I'm just carefully removing the transfer paper, leaving the design behind. And not only is it cute, but it's I like it because it's still kind of elegant, so you could, you know, display it in your house and it looks like something nice. So there we go, super cute. So there you have it, super fun projects for Halloween. I hope you have a blast making them, and if you do, you'll have to share a picture on our Facebook wall so we can check out your project, and so that everyone else in our crafty community can check it out too, because everyone loves seeing what you come up with. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, and happy crafting.
Learn more by visiting www.svgcuts.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and watch all of our crafty videos on YouTube. It's a world of crafty content with you in the middle. SVGcuts.com, inspiring you to live creatively and beautifully.